everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nikki and this is my life. I share my story with chronic illnesses and just what I do with my life, basically. So today's video is all about POTS. So October is Dysautonomia Awareness Month and I have a form of dysautonomia. So the form of dysautonomia that I have is POTS, and so POTS stands for Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia Syndrome. And basically what that means is, so your autonomic nervous system is in control of your heart rate, your blood pressure, and like your circulatory system. And when it's not working properly, it can cause high heart rate, low blood pressure, and all kinds of crazy symptoms because your body isn't regulating properly. And so with POTS, when you specifically change positions, like from sitting to standing, you'll have your body working overtime to pump blood to your head, around your body, and so it increases your heart rate and can drop your blood pressure. And so that's what POTS is. My diagnosis story. So I started having symptoms of POTS when I was 13. When I was 13, I was in a stretch of sickness, I guess you can say. I was having all kinds of crazy symptoms that we had no idea what was going on, and so I just thought that these symptoms that I was having was normal. So when I was 13, the symptoms that I had was when I would wake up in the morning, I would get these like pressure headaches, and they would last for hours and hours and hours until like these colorful spots would flood my vision, and then it was like the pressure headache released and the symptoms were gone. I often saw those spots when I stood up a little bit too fast. I had episodes where I would take a shower that was maybe a little bit too hot and I would almost pass out. I had one time where I had stood up too fast and my knees gave out, and then just feeling like lightheaded and dizzy like all the time. And so I would go to school feeling very lightheaded, and I just taught myself to like walk close to walls so that if I did pass out, at least I was passing out like on a wall instead of on a person that was like walking beside me or whatever. I don't know why that was my like thought process, but that is what my thought process was. And I thought all those symptoms were normal. So jump to, I don't know how many years later, jump to my 20s, and I'm still having these symptoms like on and off. And when I started pursuing an Ehlers-Danlos syndrome diagnosis, I also pursued a POTS diagnosis because I was noticing that I was having a lot of dizziness, I was seeing spots. I had a really hard time with standing for long periods of time or just standing at all. And I downloaded an app to just kind of keep track of my heart rate, and I was noticing that I was having heart rates that would jump 30 to 50 beats when I would stand up and just do like walk from my desk to the computer, like to the printer, and that was not normal. And so I went to my doctor, and at first he didn't exactly believe me. He was like, well, everyone's heart rate goes up when they go for a run. And I'm like, I'm not running though. I'm just walking from my desk to the printer and back. And my heart rate is spiking into like the 120s and higher when I take a shower. And he's like, oh yeah, that's not normal. And so then he gave me a referral to see a cardiologist, and I managed to get in a little bit earlier of an earlier appointment with my cardiologist. So I saw him this last March, which if you scroll back in my videos, you can see the process of me getting my POTS diagnosis. But back in March, I saw this cardiologist and I explained my list of symptoms, and he did a poor man's tilt table test because here in Canada, or at least in my area, they don't have access to tilt tables, and so they do poor man's tilt table. So this is where they have you lie down on the table and take your resting heart rate and blood pressure, and they let you lie there for a little bit, and then they get you to sit up and they take your resting heart rate and blood pressure, and then they get you to stand up and take your resting heart rate and blood pressure. And they did that about 2 or 3 times. and every time my heart rate jumped from like 80 beats to like 140. And then my blood pressure would also tank whenever this would happen. And so he was like, yep, you definitely have POTS, and that's my diagnosis story. So what are my main triggers? So for me, my main triggers are just standing up. As I said, my heart rate goes up 30 beats when I just stand up. But there are other things that can make those symptoms worse. For example, for me, standing in lines, like at the grocery store, or just having to stand when I'm cooking in my kitchen. In general, just having to stand is really difficult for me. Not only because I have pain in my joints, but because of my high heart rate, I feel really exhausted and I can't stand still, and sometimes I feel like I'm gonna pass out, and that's not a good thing when you're out in public. So standing in general. Something that I've also noticed is, like, if I am standing, if I decide to sing while I'm standing, that definitely increases my risk of possibly passing out. I get very breathless and dizzy, lightheaded. I start to like sway around and everything like that. Showers are also one of my biggest triggers. My heart rate goes into like the 200s if I'm standing in the shower. Just a combo of standing and heat triggers my heart rate to just skyrocket. And so I usually spend a lot of time just resting and lying down after I've had a shower. And then lastly, what was my other one? Oh, doing chores, like mopping, vacuuming, those kinds of things really increase my heart rate. And so oftentimes my husband does those chores because I'm not able to, it's not that I'm not able to do that chore, it's that I won't be able to do anything else that day if I do that chore. And then just in general, like going from like bending down, standing up, bending down, standing up, that also triggers my POTS as well. And so what do I do for treatment of my POTS? So the first thing that I started on when I first got diagnosed with POTS was I started on a medication called Midodrine, and I take 5 milligrams 3 times a day, and this has really helped me. I actually noticed a huge difference like the first week that I started on this, because I used to get like occipital headaches, and I never knew that they were like part of my POTS until I started this medication. Those headaches went away, and the breathlessness and just feeling exhausted when I would like go out to run a simple errand, that has this has greatly increased my quality of life. It hasn't eradicated my symptoms. Now that I've been taking it for a couple of months, I have been wondering if maybe I should try a different medication, just because I'm still having a lot of dizziness, lightheadedness when I'm standing, or I've had more close calls of almost passing out in public, which isn't a great sensation to have, but that could also be linked to some of the other things that I'm going through right now, which you can check out more videos on my channel about that. But to help boost this medication, they recommend you take in more water and more salt. And so the ways that I get in salt is these Salt Stick electrolyte tablets. This is the tropical mango flavor. These are so good. So this has, it's 100 milligrams of sodium, and there are other ones that have higher, but for my needs specifically, I find that if I take too much salt too quickly, then I get nauseous and have weird symptoms. And so I find that this is nice and gentle on my system and increases my salt quickly enough that it's helpful. And they taste good. And so I pack a couple of these in my purse, and I often take one of these when I'm gonna go out and run groceries or other errands. I just make sure that I have them on hand. For church as well, I usually take one for church. And I really enjoy these. You can get these on Amazon. I think there's other places you can get them, but because I'm from Canada, they're not easily accessible. And so the best place that I have found to get these is Amazon. Another way that I have been able to increase my salt intake is by taking electrolyte drinks as well. And so this is BioSteel. I know that there's a lot of variety out there, like Liquid IV and like Vitacium and a whole bunch of different ones, but this is the one that is like easily accessible. So something about me is like, I'm less likely to try something if it's not easily accessible, and this is something that I can go into just about any health food store in my area and pick up, or even the grocery store, and the flavors are amazing. So this one is in watermelon and it's super, super good. Some of my other favorite flavors is they have like a rainbow berry and they have like a lemon lime. What are my other favorites? They have blue raspberry, peach mango. That one is super good, but I've tried so many flavors and they are so good. This one has 140 milligrams of sodium. I haven't been taking these recently just because of my stomach issues. Taking in a lot of liquid causes me other symptoms, and so I've kind of had to balance things out a little bit, and that's why I've been taking more of these salt tablets, because they don't take up much space in my stomach and they give me the boost that I need. So a combo of these is really, really good. Usually if I'm gonna be running around all day long, then I pack a water bottle with BioSteel and then I take one of these. Also, if I'm planning on being on my feet all day, I have a set of compression socks. These are the 30 to 40 pressure measurement. They were super hard to get in my area because I'm so petite that they don't really have this compression strength in my size, but we did find one, and so these have been super helpful. And then also on days when I'm feeling extra potsy or my joint pain is acting up, I use a forearm crutch as well, and that has also helped my POTS symptoms a lot because, as I've said, standing really triggers my POTS, and so if I have something to lean on, it helps with the breathlessness, the dizziness, and I'm less likely to pass out because I have my forearm crutch with me. So those are the ways that I treat my POTS. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to share other than I hope that you found this video helpful. If you want to see any of my other videos, I have other videos about how I manage my POTS in the summer, because this was my first summer being diagnosed with POTS, and so you can find that in my videos as well. And I hope that the rest of you out there who have dysautonomia have found things that work for you. And I would also love it if you would share down below in the comments some of your favorite treatment ideas, because I'm always looking for other options. And don't forget to give this video a like, and if you would like, I'd love to have you a part of my journey, so hit that subscribe button while you're at it. Thanks for sticking around. Bye!